Hello guys, it's Victor again. It's a hot day here in Cologne, Germany, but we thank God for the sunshine. So in this video, I'll be comparing studying in the UK and studying in Germany. So if you're not aware and if you're new to this channel, I did my first master's at the London School of Economics and Political Science, where I studied international development. Then I moved here to Germany, where I studied a similar course, global governance and development. So today I'll be comparing my experiences. And then in a few months' time, I'll be moving back to the UK for my PhD in politics at the University of Warwick. Actually in a few weeks, not actually in a few, but in a few months, how time flies. So let's go straight into the video. So I'll be sharing 5 major points of comparison between studying in the UK and studying in Germany, and of course this is just based on my own particular experience. So experiences differ according to individuals, as you know, and I'm keeping it straight on based on my own particular experiences from both countries. So point number 1, the structure of the course. At the School of Economics and Political Science, the London School of Economics and Political Science, I studied in the Department of International Development and specialized in African development. So the course generally was divided into two. That's the modules. Were divided into two. You have what they call the lecture and the seminar. So in the lecture, you have the professor teaching, and he takes some questions here and there, and it's usually a big classroom or a big lecturer with 50, 100, depending on how popular the course is. A seminar, on the contrary, is composed of a smaller group of students, about probably 8, 9 or 10 depending, with the professor or the assistant professor, where matters arising from the lectures are discussed, and probably with student presentation and other things. So it's either held the same day or another day during the week. So while we have 2 hours lecture, we have 1 hour 30 minutes seminar. In the University of Duisburg-Essen, on the contrary, there are some courses that are exclusively lecture-based and others exclusively seminar-based. So the lecture-based courses, as usual, the lecturer lectures and answers 1 or 2 questions, and I give time for a bit of student presentation here and there, but generally just a lecture-based course. Then for the seminar-based courses, they give out topics for students to research on and moderate the students, and the students come out to present these courses in front of their peers, and questions are asked, corrections are made, and then that's it. So there's no separate gathering again that week where we come together and discuss. It's just either the lecture or the seminar, and we're done for the week. So the second point I'd like to discuss is the workload. By now you probably guess which is more, or which was more tasking. Of course, it was more taxing at LSC, because the reading list was very long in the first place. They had very long reading list. Apart from the recommended reading list for the week, you also have a longer additional readings that they want you to look at as well. So at the end of the day, you could have up to 10 documents to read for just 1 lecture. On the contrary, in Duisburg, it's quite manageable. I think you might have 2, 3 things to read, and might still be a little bit tasking, but compared to the LSC, it was more doable. So there are lots of pressure to catch up with the readings because of the seminar. Because if you even hide during the lectures, you cannot hide during the seminar, because these are smaller groups and you have to discuss matters arising from the reading. So if you've not done the readings, you cannot make a useful contribution, so you are compelled to read those documents. So the workload by far was more tasking at the LSC than in Duisburg. So the third is assessment. How were we assessed? Generally at the LSC, we wrote what we call assessed essays, and these essays are like 2,500 words, 3,000 words, and they made up about 20 to 30% of the final grade, and the other 70% was this sits down exams where you have to sit in the class and write for 2-3 hours and then submit your papers. So it was more exam based than paper or essay based at the LSC. In Duisburg, on the contrary, I wrote more essays, and these essays or papers were longer. They were about 15 pages or 20 pages essays. But there were, I think, one or two exams, that's sitting exams, where you have to sit in the class and write. But it was more paper-based assessments at the University of Duisburg-Essen than at the LSC. So the third is quite interesting, or the fourth actually, grading. How do they grade assessments? So the LSC, it's known for its very high standard as well. Of course, Duisburg also have standards, so that's like that doesn't say much. But at the end of the day, we know LSC is one of the Ivy Leagues, if you can say, in the UK, and they are known for their strict marking criteria. And the LSC sometimes is usually called the London School of unnecessarily high expectations, because of the high requirements or the expectations lecturers have on students. So usually if you get 70 to 100, that's a distinction, that's A. From 60 to 69 is a B, 50 to 59 is a C, 40 to 49 is a D, or a pass. So anything below 40 is usually a fail. So even if they say 70 to 100 is distinction, you at least get students getting 80 or 90. The highest I think I've seen is about 75 or so, even 72 or 73. So and when you get a mark as high as that at the LSC, they claim the work is almost publishable. So a number of students actually got distinctions, and kudos to them. But my grade generally was in the 60s, that's from 60 to 69. Although I think I was able to get 70s once or twice in some of my assessed essays. I think at this point, I'm better with essays than with exams. So in the University of Duisburg-Essen, they use the German marking standard, where 1 is excellent and 5 is fail. And in between you have maybe 1.3, 1.5, 2.3, 2.5. So you get 5, that's fail. You get 1, that's pass. You get 1.5, good. 1.3, excellent. So between 1 and 1.5 is actually like a distinction, and anything below that is like good or a pass. Just make sure you don't get a 5. So in the University of Duisburg, my scores were between 1 or 1.5, and at the end of the day I graduated with a 1.3 actually, which qualifies as a distinction, if you can say that. So I was a B student at LSC and an A student at the University of Duisburg-Essen. So let's go to the relationship between the faculty and other students and things like that. You know, in London, we're not meant to call professors with their title. It's not compulsory. And this was a bit of a shock to me because from Nigeria, where I came from, you need to call professors with their title, professor this, doctor that. It's a sign of respect. But in London, you see a popular professor with his grey hair, or even the young professors as well. They just call them by their name, James, Laura. It took me quite a while to get used to, but it was quite nice. It's like an icebreaker, you know. In University of Duisburg, you still use their titles. I also had a very close relationship with the lecturers, but you still give them doctor, professor, this. But that didn't change the level of interaction with the department, actually. In fact, I saw myself interacting more with my professors in Duisburg than in London for some reason. Even though London, they were quite approachable and quite there to help, but I found myself actually gravitating towards my professors at the University of Duisburg-Essen. I think the department in general was quite helpful because they helped with extra issues, non-academic issues, like those having visa appointments, doctor's appointments, students who had children and were looking for how to find nurseries for their children. The department always helping and giving directions. At the LSE, there are also other units in the universities where you could go to get extra help, but they're usually outside the department. But in Duisburg, they didn't mind if you come to them and ask them for non-academic issues, and they were always there to help and to give a helping hand. So I'm super delighted about having both opportunities. This is a rare opportunity to study in two wonderful universities in Europe. And if you ask me which I prefer, it's actually a difficult thing to say, because it's like telling me to choose choose between my children. They're special in their own way and they have their own strengths and weaknesses, and I wouldn't say this is necessarily better tthan this. I know LSC is up there, one of the best social universities, social science universities in the world. But I wouldn't dismiss University of Duisburg-Essen in a hurry, because there are lots of things I got from Duisburg I didn't get from LSC. And of course, there are lots of things I got from LSC and I didn't get from Duisburg. So I think these are the two wings of the bird, and my two wings that I used to fly to excellence. So I'm immensely grateful for the opportunities to the Standard Bank of Africa that sponsored my studies at the LSC, and the Helmut Schmidt's DAD program that provided funding for my study at the University of Duisburg-Essen. So that's it, guys. I would see you in another one. It's quite hot here. Usually German houses do not have air conditioning, and during summer it's always hell, but that's a discussion for another day. So until next time, see you later. I think I need another bath. Yeah.